Have you felt the weight of the invisible gaze of millions, waiting for a mistake, for a failure, for a word out of place? Today, morality is a minefield, and with every step, you could explode into 1,000 virtual pieces. Why have we created a digital justice system more relentless than any religion? There's no forgiveness, no redemption, only punishment. The sentence of cancellation, executed by the anonymous mob. Think of the virtual lynchings, careers destroyed in seconds, lives pulverized by an old tweet or a wrong opinion. What happens when the stage of life becomes a 24/7 courtroom? Hannah Arendt warned us about the banality of evil, but now it's digital, banalized by the click, normalized by the masses. You are judge, jury, and tomorrow, you could be the defendant. The quest for moral purity, for an unattainable perfection, has turned debate into inquisition, human complexity into a hashtag. If this provocation hit you, if you feel the chill of this constant judgment, this video is a brutal mirror, ready to unveil the truth behind the facade, ready to face the tribunal everyone fears. Block 2, Conditioning and Programming. You weren't born with a thirst for condemnation. You were born with a need for belonging. But you were programmed for moral purity, for the digital witch hunt. From an early age, they taught you what is good, what is evil, and most dangerously, what is unforgivable. This is behavioral engineering in its most perverse form, a system that molds you to judge, to point fingers, to find the external enemy, and thereby feel morally superior. You were conditioned to seek perfection, not for yourself, but to demand it from others, because others' failures. Validate your own righteousness. Consider confirmation bias, the tendency to seek and interpret information. That confirms your pre-existing beliefs, and to ignore what contradicts them. This is amplified in the digital courtroom, where nuance dies, and condemnation becomes an addiction, and behavioral finance enters here subtly and brutally. Virtue signaling capitalism, where brands and individuals align with moral movements, not out of genuine conviction, but for profit, to survive cancellation, to engage the tribe. You spend your time, your energy, your attention, consuming and propagating the cancellation discourse, all of this monetized by platforms that profit from your indignation. Robert Cialdini, in his Laws of Persuasion, shows how social proof, the majority condemns, and loss aversion, the fear of being the next target, are used to manipulate your participation in this lynching. You were indoctrinated to love the illusion of moral control because it promises belonging, an identity of being just, instead of human complexity, of compassion, of true justice. If this digital programming resonates with you, comment below. I question my own condemnation. You feel increasingly vigilant, more anxious with every word, afraid of being the next target. This is your internal fragmentation, the price of your soul surrendered to the digital tribunal. The shadow, according to Carl Jung, is everything you deny within yourself, your own flaws, your imperfections, your unacceptable thoughts. They were silenced, pushed into the unconscious dark, while you project impurity onto others to feel clean, righteous, and what you repress controls you, sabotages you, hence the obsessive need to point out flaws, to publicly shame, to join the pack. Gabor explains that the trauma of shame, the search for unconditional acceptance, creates a vicious cycle of self-deception, where your own compassion is sacrificed. You project your shadow onto the canceled one, onto the transgressor, because seeing humanity in them means facing your own flaws, your own capacity for error. Your identity becomes a moral flag, a performance of virtue for the screen. You are not who you are. You are who the algorithm suggests you be. To maintain your status in the tribe, to avoid cancellation, how much of your life is spent maintaining this illusion of purity, in feeding the system that judges you, in silencing your own voice of empathy? If this truth provoked you, comment below. I choose complexity, not purity. Block 4. The void and false freedom. You seek freedom, but why do you feel so empty, even with the power to cancel in your hands? So much digital justice, because this is false freedom, a prison disguised as empowerment. The freedom to judge, but not to be judged. The freedom to point fingers, but not to accept your own imperfection. The system sells you the illusion of a perfect world, where mistakes are unforgiven, where moral purity is currency. It turns your need for justice into a dopamine trap of clicks, likes, and shares of condemnation.
Think of the polarization industry. It doesn't need to force you to hate. It just needs to offer a clear enemy, a just cause for your indignation, and profit flows. This is cancellation capitalism. It profits from your anger, from your moral outrage, from your need to belong to a virtuous tribe, your energy, your time, all monetized by the engine of digital tribalism. Behavioral finance operates here brutally. How often have you invested time, emotion, even money in cancellation campaigns or in products from brands that take a moral stand? Not out of genuine conviction, but from fear of being the next target, from the desire to protect yourself, from the illusion of being on the right side. Daniel Kahneman taught us about availability bias. The ease with which examples of cancellation come to mind increases your fear and your conformity. You believe you are more likely to be canceled than you actually are. You are not deciding, you are obeying the script of moral perfection. To maintain digital order, the stability of your image, the manufactured peace of your online tribe, but true freedom cannot be bought with condemnation. It is conquered in the courage to be complex, to err, to forgive yourself and others. If this part resonated with you, comment here. I don't want to trade freedom for moral purity anymore. Block 5. Rupture and authentic reconstruction. Rupture isn't an apology. It's a declaration of complexity. It's when you stop obeying the digital tribunal and start listening to your own conscience. Authentic reconstruction begins in the silence of your self-acceptance, in the courage to allow yourself to be flawed, imperfect, human, without the need to punish others to feel righteous. Gabor Mate shows us the root of relentless judgment is unhealed pain itself. The pursuit of external purity is the escape from your own shadow. The cure is reintegration of your capacity for compassion, for yourself and for others. This is true disobedience. Disobeying the mob that wants you at war, the voices that tell you to hate, your own self-repression of empathy. It's a radical choice to abandon the false security of digital virtue for the uncertainty of human complexity, an authenticity that is priceless because it costs your false image of perfection. Jordan Peterson speaks about the responsibility of embracing your own chaos, of facing your own mistakes. Your life, without the makeup of moral purity, may seem daunting, but that's where your strength lies, your real freedom.
You will lose the fear of being imperfect. You will stop sabotaging yourself with self-punishment, because there will be no part of you hidden behind a virtuous facade, no vital energy wasted feeding the cycle of condemnation. This is freedom, not the freedom to judge, but the freedom to be, in your totality, with your flaws, with your humanity, without the surveillance, without the shackles of cancellation. If you feel this is the moment to break through the walls of moral purity, type in the comments, "The judgment programming ends with me," or send this video to someone living in fear of the digital tribunal. Cancellation and moral purity. The digital tribunal everyone fears. Why have we created a digital justice system more relentless than any religion? The culture of cancellation reveals our primitive desire for social purification, where public punishment replaces real justice, and human complexity is sacrificed at the altar of moral perfection. You've been judge, you've been jury, but the truth is, you're human too, flawed, complex, and the price of freedom isn't speech, but the courage to break the silence the system imposed on you, the courage to be imperfect, to forgive, to be complex. Choose your full humanity, even if it isolates you from the mob, even if it forces you to question everything. This is your deepest freedom, to be who you truly are, beyond judgment, beyond purity, beyond the digital tribunal. If something awakened in you in this video, comment, "I see beyond the veil of cancellation." Share this content with anyone living in fear of being the next target. And if you want to keep breaking cycles with me, subscribe now. The shadow you avoid controls you. Freedom only frightens, until you discover you were ready all along. Rupture is the beginning. Consciousness is the path to your complexity.